welcome to the September 14th Fantasy Football Show. It's a special segment of the Father, Son, and Holy Sport weekly podcast. I'm G-Man from Columbus, Ohio. That's my man T-Money out there in 49er country, San Francisco.
What's going on, G-Man? Ready to talk some fantasy football because you know I got all the dubs this weekend and ready to just shed some light on my amazing fantasy knowledge.
Hey, okay, yeah, well, I want to see that too. And if you like what you're seeing every week, press the like and subscribe. We're on YouTube, Spotify, all the platforms. Look for our name at Father, Son, and Holy Sport. We're going to start it off with our hot and cold. G-Man's going to pick the hot starters who are going to go off, that are going to beat their projections. T-Money's going to pick the cold starters you might want to consider putting on your bench. Okay, so G-Man's going to start with a hot quarterback. We're going to start off with quarterbacks. I'm going T-Money to the Denver game. They're favored by 6 at Jacksonville. Over-under's 45, 1 p.m. Sunday. I'm going with the quarterback of Denver, Teddy Bridgewater. Really bringing it this last week. Yeah. He's projected at 17.4 points. I'm going to tell you he's going to beat that. He completed 28 of 36 passes for 264, 2 touchdowns. He ran the ball 3 times for 19 yards. His numbers would be better if Hamler would not have dropped that bomb that he threw, the KJ Hamler. He dropped a 56-yard bomb. Okay, so Teddy should he's going to beat 17-4. I'm going with Teddy Bridgewater as your hot quarterback for the week.
Yeah, man, they looked good. Denver shocked a lot of people. I think that's what they needed at the position was stability. So he could be hot every week. And that's why we play this, because sometimes you got a guy like my cold guy coming up here, Joe Burrow. Now, Joe Burrow might be your starter right now. But he's projected at 17 points as well. Okay. He's projected at 17 points. Look at G. I know he's your guy, G-Man. I know. And I hope that this does not happen, but I have a feeling it will, because if you have Teddy as your backup and Joe Burrow as your starter, they're both projected at 17. But Burrow, he had 18 last week versus an okay Minnesota team, but he was sacked 5 times. And if you're telling me that really, really good Chicago defense can't do more than that, I think that he's going to have less than 17. And so that's why we tell you this stuff, because both are projected at 17. One's going to be hot, one's going to be cold. And I'm saying Burrow's the cold one here. I don't think he performs in Chicago this week. That defense is too good and the O-line is too bad.
Hey, I got Burrow and Stafford on my team. I'm starting Stafford. I'm not starting Burrow. So I tend to lean with you there. Okay, let's go to the running backs, and let's go to the hot running backs. I'm going to Cleveland minus 12.5. They're at home against Houston. Here comes Houston, 1-0 coming into Cleveland. Over-under's 48. I'm going with one of the running backs of Cleveland, Kareem Hunt. He's projected at 12.6 points. Hunt carried the ball against the Chiefs 6 times for 33 yards. He got a touchdown. He caught 3 of 3 targets for 33. He ran in a 2-point conversion. The Browns are focused on the running game. I just think that Hunt, he had 17 fantasy points last week. He's going to beat 12.6. Kareem Hunt, hot for the running backs this week.
No, and I especially like that for 2 reasons. One, Houston is a horrible football team, so that's just going to be easy to run all over them. So it's going to be points galore for everyone on that Browns team. But I think they're going to watch out on keeping Chubb healthy this year. And when you run away with these games, you put your backups in. And Kareem Hunt, if he plays the majority of the 3rd and 4th quarter, that's all free points for those owners. I like Kareem Hunt.
Are we giving you good advice?
Giving you good advice here.
Are we giving you people good advice?
But another gut punch to my man G-Man here. Another one of his big guys, Saquon Barkley. I'm sorry, he's going to have a cold week again. He only had 3 points last week. I know he's just coming back, getting going. But he's going up against a divisional rival here. The Giants don't look like a good football team. And this may be one of the best defenses in the NFL in Washington, projected at 14 points. Unless he somehow finds the end zone here and catches a few balls, I don't see him getting to that. It's going to be a tough day for Saquon out there. It's just Washington's too good, and he's still coming back from injury. Sorry, G-Man. Once again, your guy is going to have a cold week.
He had 4 points last week. He rushed 10 times. He was targeted in the passing game 3 times. So it's 13 targets for him. He can get points in that kind of scenario. But you're right, man. If that line's not blocking, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
So I can see why you made that pick. Let's go to the wide receivers and let's look at who's going to be hot. I'm going to the Chargers game. They're -3 at home. Dallas is coming. You heard T Money say Dallas is going to upset them. Over-under's 55. This is going to be balls flying all over the place at 4:25 Sunday. I'm going with one of the wide receivers of the Chargers. I'm going with Mike Williams. He's projected at 13 points. He caught 8 passes last week, and he had a touchdown.
Yeah.
12 targets. 12 targets. Now, who's not going to get points if they get 12 targets in fantasy? It's going to be a high-scoring game. Williams should be very involved. His projection's 13-1. He's going to beat that.
Yep. Like him, I told you it was going to be a high scoring game on the Fantasy Football podcast earlier. So go check that out. But yeah, I like them as a high scoring game here. I think everyone's going to eat, no matter Cowboy or Charger fantasy owner. So everyone go get anyone in that game this week. But for my cold one, I'm going to go for someone who had a bad first week showing and is supposed to be maybe the number 1 receiver in fantasy this year, in Calvin Ridley. He had a rough week last week, only had 10 points. Atlanta just looked like a horrible team offensively and defensively.
Yeah.
And they're going up against the Bucks, and he's projected for 18 points. That Bucks pass rush is no joke. Okay. I just think if you're going to be able to only put up 6 points versus the Eagles, as an offense, you can't tell me that you're going to do better versus the Bucks, who might have the number 1 defense in the league. I don't know how Ridley gets to 18 here unless he scores 2 touchdowns. He has to score 2 touchdowns to get to that, because Atlanta just looks like maybe one of the bottom 5 teams in football right now.
What is it? Is it Atlanta's offense, or is that Philly D really good? It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to believe what happened to Calvin Ridley and that whole Atlanta offense. Hey, let's move on to lemonade from lemons. We're going to make lemonade from lemons. We're looking at players who are less than 50% rostered who can start. I'm going to start off here, and I'm going to tell you someone to pick up that's not rostered. Sammy Watkins from Baltimore. And I even made this pick before this last night. I knew he was going to go off last night. He's only rostered in 13% of the ESPN leagues. They played the Chiefs on Sunday at 1. Okay, so Baltimore's going to have to score some points to stay with the Chiefs. He's only projected for 10.6 points. He just scored 13.6 on Monday night, and he's going to have to score more now. I'm going to go with Watkins as the guy to pick up, get on your roster, and play him.
Yeah, no, I like it. Sammy Watkins is going to play well. We'll see. Like you said, it's going to be a high-scoring game, so he's got to play well. The guy I'm going to go with, though, is Nelson Aguilar. You guys got to go get this guy.
Ooh.
He's projected at 10 right now. I think he's rostered in about 46% of leagues, 36 or 46. Apologies for not knowing that right now, but he's available in a lot of leagues, and he is clearly the wide receiver 1 on this Patriots team. He was targeted 7 times. He's going to go over 10 points this week. I like him a lot. Mac Jones is an accurate quarterback. So if he's targeting you, he's most likely going to get you the ball. Nelson Aguilar, go pick this guy up. He's going to be a great stash as Mac Jones gets better and better throughout this year.
Yeah. Hey, he had 7 targets. He caught 5 of them. 72 yards and a touchdown. So 18 points, man. The guy did a great job.
Great job.
And that's why they went out and got him. And New England built up that team, man. He's one of their pickups. I like that pick, man. I like that pick. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, let's move on to just finish this up. We're going to wrap this show up, the fantasy show brought to you by Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. We're going to talk about injury impacts. And T-Money, there's been some injuries. What kind of sticks out in your mind, and what kind of advice do you have for the fantasy fans out there?
Yep, I'm going to basically big injury impact this week. Ryan Fitzpatrick goes down with a big hip injury. Looks like at least 8 weeks. I think this is going to hurt the production of that entire offense, and specifically Terry McLaurin is really going to suffer here because Heineke is not the gunslinger that Fitzmagic is. So it's just going to hurt his overall week-to-week production. The other one is a lot of people don't think it might hurt him. I think it's going to hurt Gibson as well. The offense is just not going to be as good, which means you're going to have less opportunities, especially in the passing game, and less opportunities to score. So he had such a high touchdown rate last year, Antonio Gibson did, that this is going to hurt him in overall production. With him being out 8 weeks, if you're one of those two owners, you could look to sell high here and try to get someone to keep you relevant throughout the rest of the year. Or if you're someone that's got a solid core of guys and is looking someone that's going to be great in the second half of the year for a playoff push, look to trade for one of these guys, because Fitzy comes back at playoff time, starts gunslinging again, might be a good opportunity to buy low here on these two guys.
Heineke ended up with 11 fantasy points. He was 11 for 15, which isn't a bad percentage, but only 122 yards.
Yeah.
He did rush the ball, got a touchdown, but only 11 fantasy points. And
exactly.
But one thing I'm wondering about, sometimes these quarterbacks, they come in, they're inexperienced and maybe not as good. They lean on their tight end. How about my man Logan Thomas, a tight end, Team Money? He might pick up some more receptions out of this whole change.
Yeah, I actually like Logan Thomas to stay about the same here, maybe be a little bit better. He's going to be the safety blanket for Heineke because he's going to be that middle of the field presence at about 8 yards. Terry McLaurin's going to be the sideline guy. Heineke can't make that pass. And like I said, Heineke rushed for a touchdown. That's Gibson's touchdown if Fitzmagic's in the game. So both are losing production here. But yes, I like Logan Thomas to stay about the same.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe a little bit more. I'm thinking maybe, man. Hey, let's go to San Fran and talk about Mostert, my man, my hero from last week. He was in my Zoom background. You guys saw him. My heart out to you, man. I love you. Mostert picked up my locker room, man. G-Man Rocks locker room, my fantasy team. Mostert with that speed at 23 miles an hour, man. I'm going to miss him. But, hey, that impact on San Fran, what is Kyle doing with those running backs? Nobody knows. You're playing at risk, man. It's like going across the construction zone when they're constructing the building because you don't know what's going to happen with these running backs in San Fran. Say everybody's on Elijah. He's going to be the big pickup this week in the Elijah Mitchell in the waiver wire, okay, because he had a big game. But what about Jeff Wilson? Jeff Wilson comes off the IR. He's going to be off in a few weeks, and he's there. And what about Trey Sermon? Is this all just kind of a prank because Trey, said the wrong thing, like he thought he was the number one guy, but he's really killing it? Is Trey going to come back? What is going to happen with this backfield, man? It's all a big guess. Nobody knows the answer. So the impact is you're playing with fire, bro. You're playing with fire with these running backs in San Francisco.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You never know who's going to go off. You never know who's going to get injured. Jeff Wilson, I think, is going to be the third guy when he comes in off IR, just because these other two are going to be established by them. Moster's out for the year. I think this backfield is Mitchell's right now until he proves otherwise. He had a really good game, and then Sermon's going to be the backup, but I think he's more talented than Mitchell. So in the long run, if it's just these two, Sermon takes over as the number one guy in the next few weeks, and it's his backfield. But he's injured. He's coming off a small injury too. So let's see how he gets going in these first few weeks. I would go Mitchell for the first couple games, and then it's going to be Sermon's background the second half of the season.
I tend to agree with that, but I would not count on Wilson. Hey, we hope you love the new fantasy football show brought to you by Father, Son, and Holy Sport. We love you. If you love the show, press the like and subscribe. Look for us on all the platforms at Father, Son, and Holy Sport. If you're interested in sponsoring our fantasy show, reach out to us, y'all. Team Money, good luck with your fantasy teams this weekend.
All right, man. Good luck to you too, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Let's go.